From the animal rights movement to animal welfare, we're looking at how America's attitudes toward animals has changed over the years.
The book, Our Kindred Creatures, How Americans Came to Feel the Way They Do About Animals, is written by Bill Wasik, editorial director of the New York Times Magazine, and Monica Murphy, who is a veterinarian. They join us this morning. Good morning.
Hi there.
Hi.
So what's going on in the 19th century with animals? Are there like pigs roaming the streets, or like what? Paint the picture for us.
There are literally pigs roaming the streets. The 19th century cities are full of animals. The animals, of course, horses drive major modes of transportation. You know, there are private vehicles carting people around the city. There are also transit vehicles being pulled by horses, both on wheels and on rails. There are also horses hauling all the freight, and even in this age where rail, steam engines and trains are becoming very important between cities, you need horses to get the coal to the trains so that those can move too. So beyond the horses, we've got dogs, we've got cats, we've got pigs snuffling around in the garbage. We've got all that.
I was curious because so you find a link between abolitionists and activists after the passage of the 13th Amendment. Where did all that energy go to?
Went to a number of different causes. Women's suffrage was a big one. Temperance was a big one. But a number of people put their energy into the cause of animals. And it was something you saw in England where the movement really began, but you really see it in the United States as well.
And what was the attitude of people towards animals? What was the challenge of reaching these people to say, hey, we ought to care about animals more than we are?
We were coming out of this very sort of agrarian society where people were kind of used to using animals in a certain way. And it was really just a struggle to get people to sort of put their heads inside animals' perspective. And one of the big themes of our book is kind of the power of imagination. That the activists were sort of asking people to in lots of different ways to sort of think, hey, what would it be like to really be an animal?
Yeah. Well, interesting. I found that an image of that magazine, Our Dumb Animals, that included letters from the animal's perspective, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, one of the big characters in our book, George Angel in Massachusetts, he's actually the one who turns Black Beauty into a worldwide sensation.
Wow.
I mean, that really was a kind of, at the time, the idea of a novel that was written from the perspective of a horse was just really sort of a mind-blowing idea. And it wasn't just kids who read it, adults read it and were really moved by it. And it's funny to sort of look back, now it's a thing we're more familiar with, but at the time it was very, very affecting for people.
I think, when we look at Chicago, you think of the jungle, Upton Sinclair, and the Chicago stockyards and the way that animals were treated. How did those attitudes change? And when the ASPCA was originally founded, were people kind of like, what? Like, what are you guys thinking about here?
Yeah, I mean, what makes Chicago really remarkable in this story is that Chicago is where this kind of new animal economy really takes shape, where, the cows or pigs that used to be slaughtered right in your community, well, increasingly they're in Chicago or Cincinnati or these places that are really concentrating animal industry. And it really meant that people elsewhere in the country, or even in Chicago, of course, because it was 6 miles from the city center where this was happening, didn't really have to think about the way their food animals were treated in quite the same way. So that, is one of the big shifts that we document in the book.
Let's look at this PSA that everybody has seen. It's heartbreaking with animal shelters. And I wonder, this was obviously very effective. Where are we with how we're treating animals when you talk about new trends like plastics in the ocean, puppy mills? How is the fight for animal welfare?
Well, it's getting better in many ways. But the sort of trends that we're documenting occurring in the 19th century, I feel like we do still see those at work. Like people find it easy to care for dogs and cats, certainly the ones in their home, but they recognize those adorable animals on television as sort of kin to the ones that they love. It's a step harder to care about things like wildlife whose habitat is disappearing. It's even harder as those animals get smaller and less cute or further away. So all that started during the period we study.
What have you noticed in terms of cosmetics testing and medical testing with animals? Because, when I go out and buy cosmetics, there's usually that bunny on the back, meaning that this company doesn't endorse, doesn't use animal testing. But how far have we come in that regard?
I think that's another realm where we don't really know as much. I think the people who do animal testing and do animal research have gotten very shy about letting people in, and so I do think that some progress has been made, but I think it's one of the areas where there's less transparency really than there ought to be.
Well, the book is Our Kindred Creatures, How Americans Came to Feel the Way They Do About Animals. For more, you can follow Bill on X. Bill and Monica, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks.